All right, folks, strap in and hold on to your hats because we're about to dive into the wild and wacky world of wrestling lore. And hey, let's keep it light, fun, and maybe just a little bit over the top because that's how wrestling rolls, right? So let's rumble through the history with the gusto of Will Sasso channeling his best Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonation.
The Golden Age. Picture it. The 1950s and 60s, where wrestling was all about larger-than-life characters and the action was as scripted as a soap opera, but way more sweaty. Back then, guys like Gorgeous George were strutting around, making the villain or heel persona a real showstopper. Oh yeah, and the crowds ate it up like it was primetime TV because, well, it was. The rise of Hulkamania. Fast forward to the 80s, brother. This is when wrestling hit the stratosphere. Enter Hulk Hogan, the mustachioed marvel who urged kids to say their prayers and take their vitamins. Hulkamania ran wild, and wrestling became a fixture of pop culture. Hogan, with his 24-inch pythons, body slammed his way through anyone who came at him, and believe me, they lined up for miles. The Attitude Era. Now we're talking late 90s, and wrestling is about to get a gritty makeover. This is when the WWE, then WWF, said, hey, let's crank up the drama, and boy, did they ever. Stone Cold Steve Austin was cracking beers and serving stunners, while The Rock was cooking up catchphrases that even your grandma knows. Can you smell what I'm laying down here? Ruthless aggression to modern day. Post-2000, things got even bigger. John Cena became the face that runs the place, charming us with his ruthless aggression and endless you-can't-see-me hand waves. And today, it's a universe of high-flying, smack-talking superstars from every corner of the globe, battling it out in WWE, AEW, and indie circuits, keeping us glued to our seats with every suplex and storyline twist. The legends and the legacy. Wrestling isn't just about the moves, it's about the stories. It's about Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, Ric Flair's woo-filled title runs, and Macho Man's oh yeah. It's a tapestry of triumphs, tragedies, backstabs, and betrayals that could give any TV drama a run for its money.
So there you have it, a tag team style crash course in wrestling lore, served up with a side of sass, courtesy of your pal, Will Sasso, or, me pretending to be him, pretending to be a wrestler. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a curious newcomer, there's always more to explore in the ring. And that's the bottom line, because Will Sasso kind of said so. The golden age of wrestling. Okay, people, imagine it's the 1950s and 60s. The world is in black and white, and TV is the hottest thing since sliced bread. Wrestling bursts onto the scene, and it's not just any wrestling. It's a full-blown soap opera with body slams. The golden age, brother. It's like Shakespeare in tights. Gorgeous George. First up, we've got Gorgeous George. This guy walks into the ring like he's on the red carpet at the Oscars. He's got the hair, the robes, the whole shebang. Picture Liberace if he could put you in a headlock. Gorgeous George was a master at getting under your skin. He'd prance around, spraying perfume and just oozing arrogance. The crowd would boo him, but deep down, they loved every minute of it. And trust me, the guy could wrestle too. He wasn't all show, but oh, what a show. Lou Thesz. Then on the flip side, we've got Lou Thesz, the strong, silent type. This dude could wrestle a bear and come out looking better than the bear. No frills, no gimmicks, just pure wrestling excellence. He'd step into the ring, and you'd know you were about to see a masterclass. Thesz was like the Clint Eastwood of wrestling, silently kicking butt and taking names with his suplexes and technical prowess. If Gorgeous George was the peacock, Lou Thesz was the eagle, soaring above all with pure talent. Buddy Rogers. Now, let's not forget Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. This guy was strutting around flaunting his figure four leg lock like it was the cure for the common cold. Buddy Rogers was the original stylin' and profilin' superstar, setting the stage for all those who came after. He held the NWA and WWF titles, folks, making history one leg lock at a time. He was the human equivalent of a peacock on steroids, all flash and substance. Television explosion, wrestling on TV was like the superhero movies of its day. Shows like Wrestling at the Chase turned wrestlers into household names. Every living room had a TV screen filled with grapplers throwing down. Promoters like Vince McMahon Sr. were the puppet masters, making sure the drama was as thick as grandma's gravy. Tag teams and territories. Let's not forget tag teams, the dynamic duos of destruction. The fabulous Kangaroos, yeah, you heard me right, Kangaroos, were hopping around the ring causing double trouble. And with the territory system, wrestlers were like traveling salesmen bringing their suplexes and sleeper holds from town to town, spreading the gospel of grappling, innovations and influences. The Golden Age wasn't just about muscles and mayhem. It was the birthplace of wrestling innovation. These guys were the Thomas Edisons of the squared circle, inventing moves, crafting personas, and setting the stage for future legends. It was a time when wrestling was evolving faster than a speeding bullet, and yes, sometimes it felt just as wild.
All right, brothers, let's dive into the history of Hulkamania with a comedic twist. Brought to you by the versatile impressions of Will Sasso. We're talking about the meteoric rise of Hulk Hogan, told in a way that's both informative and hilarious. Whoa, dude.
In the late 1970s, the wrestling world was searching for a hero, and what did they get? Hulk Hogan, a man with muscles bigger than a Schwarzenegger bicep. Hogan, born Terry Bollea, was a former bodybuilder with the physique of a Greek god. He started his wrestling career in small promotions before making his way to the big leagues. When Vince McMahon spotted him, he knew Hogan was the perfect fit for the World Wrestling Federation. Hogan's charisma was off the charts, and his presence in the ring was like a tank rolling through a field of daisies. He wasn't just another wrestler. He was a force of nature. So there he was, this gigantic dude with blonde hair and a bandana, flexing his pythons and telling everyone to say their prayers and take their vitamins. Hulk Hogan exploded onto the scene in the 1980s, becoming the face of the WWF. His personality was as big as his biceps, and he quickly became a household name. The kids loved him. The parents loved him. Heck, even my grandma loved him. And then there was the match that put him on the map, WrestleMania 3 against Andre the Giant. Hogan body slammed Andre in front of 93,000 screaming fans. And let me tell you, it was like the moon landing of wrestling moments.
Now let me tell you something, son. Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was an icon. The Hulkamania craze took over, with Hogan headlining the first 9 WrestleManias and appearing in movies, TV shows, and even cartoons. Hogan's catchphrases like, "What you gonna do, brother?" and his red and yellow ring gear became legendary. His feuds with guys like Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior are still talked about today. Hogan didn't just wrestle, he electrified the crowd. He made you believe in the power of Hulkamania, and that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
Oh, yes. The rise of Hulkamania wasn't just about one man. It was a revolution in the world of sports entertainment. Hogan's influence reached far beyond the wrestling ring, leading to crossover appeal that brought wrestling into mainstream culture. Hulkamania was a phenomenon, brother, drawing millions of fans worldwide and transforming the WWF into a global powerhouse. His larger-than-life persona was the driving force behind the success of professional wrestling during the 80s and early 90s.
You talking to me? Yeah, I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, the guy who made wrestling a household name. In 1994, Hogan jumped ship to World Championship Wrestling, WCW, and guess what? He did it again. Hulkamania ran wild there too, culminating in the formation of the New World Order, NWO, alongside Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. This move turned him from a beloved hero into one of the most infamous villains in wrestling history. Hogan knew how to keep the fans hooked, whether they loved him or loved to hate him. His impact was undeniable, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest of all time.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Hulkamania was all about believing in yourself, saying your prayers and taking your vitamins. Brother, Hulk Hogan didn't just dominate the 80s. He laid the foundation for what wrestling is today, brother. The leg drops, the Hulk ups, brother, and the countless title reigns, brother. Hogan did it all with the power of the Hulkamaniacs behind him. And what you're going to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you, oh, yeah.
All right, folks, get ready to dive into the wild and rowdy attitude era of wrestling, narrated by Will Sasso doing his best Adam Sandler impression. It's going to be a roller coaster of laughs and nostalgia, so let's jump right in.
Alrighty then, let's talk about the late 90s, a time when wrestling got a whole lot crazier and a whole lot more fun. The Attitude Era, baby. This was when WWE, then WWF, decided to spice things up and get a little edgier. You had Vince McMahon saying, hey, let's throw out the rule book and give the fans something to talk about. And boy, did they ever. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Enter Stone Cold Steve Austin, the baddest dude to ever drink a beer and stomp a mud hole. Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. And he wasn't kidding, folks. This guy was stunning everyone in sight, from Vince McMahon to The Rock. He was flipping birds, chugging beers, and raising all kinds of hell. Every Monday night, Stone Cold was out there making sure nobody left their seat. The Rock. And then, oh yes, The Rock. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, this guy had more catchphrases than a game of Mad Libs. He was the people's champ, laying the smackdown on everyone's candy asses. The Rock could electrify a crowd like nobody's business. His charisma was off the charts, and every promo was a 5-star performance. The millions and millions of Rock's fans couldn't get enough. D-Generation X, let's not forget those degenerate rebels. D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, and the rest of the crew, they were out there telling everyone to suck it and causing mayhem wherever they went. Their antics were wild, their jokes were crude, and their matches were epic. DX was all about breaking the rules and having a blast doing it. If you weren't down with that, they had 2 words for you: Mankind. And how can we talk about the Attitude Era without mentioning Mankind? This guy was crazy. Mick Foley and all his personas, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love, was taking insane bumps and getting thrown off cages. Remember the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker? Oh, man, that was like watching a car crash in slow motion, but you couldn't look away. Mankind had a sock puppet, Mr. Socko, and somehow made it terrifying. The Monday Night Wars. Meanwhile, over at WCW, you had the NWO, Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall trying to take over the wrestling world. It was a battle for rating supremacy, with WWE and WCW going head-to-head every Monday night. The competition was fierce, and it made for some of the best TV ever. The Attitude Era was all about pushing the envelope, and fans were loving every second of it. The end of an era. By the early 2000s, the Attitude Era started winding down, but its impact was undeniable. It had taken wrestling to new heights, making it must-watch TV. The characters, the storylines, the chaos, it was a perfect storm of entertainment. And even though the Attitude Era ended, its legacy lives on, brother.
All right, folks. Get ready to pump up those muscles and dive into the ruthless aggression era of wrestling, narrated by Will Sasso doing his best Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. And remember, we're going to get super excited when we talk about John Cena because he's Will's all-time favorite wrestler. Let's do this.
All right, listen up, everybody. It's the early 2000s, and WWE is on the hunt for the next generation of superstars. This is the ruthless aggression era, where everything is bigger, stronger, and more intense. It's time to get to the chopper of wrestling history. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. First, we've got Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist. He's like a wrestling Terminator, suplexing everyone into oblivion. And then there's Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate. This guy is like a human bulldozer with muscles bigger than my biceps. When he hits you with the F5, it's game over, man. His battles with Kurt Angle were epic showdowns, like gladiators in the ring.
Evolution. Next, we have Evolution. Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. These guys were like the Expendables of wrestling. They had style, they had power, and they dominated everyone in their path. Triple H was the cerebral assassin, Randy Orton, the legend killer, Batista the powerhouse, and Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game. They were unstoppable. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. And then there's Eddie Guerrero. Latino Heat was a wrestling genius, lying, cheating, and stealing his way to the top. His matches were electrifying, and his WWE Championship win was a moment of pure joy. Chris Benoit, the Crippler, was a technical powerhouse. His victory at WrestleMania XX, celebrating with Eddie Guerrero, was a moment of pure wrestling glory. John Cena. But wait, hold on tight, because here comes the main event. The man, the myth, the legend, John Cena. Yeah, this guy is a superstar, the ultimate warrior of the ruthless aggression era. Cena debuted with a bang, showing ruthless aggression and taking on Kurt Angle right out of the gate. His rise was like a rocket ship, straight to the top. Cena's rise to stardom. Cena brought the Doctor of Thugonomics persona, and the crowd loved it. He was rapping, he was throwing down the attitude adjustment, and he was becoming a hero to millions. His feud with JBL and winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21 was like lifting a boulder off the ground. Pure strength and determination. Cena holding that title was the dawn of a new era. Cena's legacy. John Cena defined the ruthless aggression era. He took on everyone edge. Randy Orton, Triple H, and never backed down. He was like the T-800, always coming back stronger, always ready for the next fight. His matches were legendary. His promos were powerful, and his connection with the fans was unbreakable. That's why Cena is my favorite wrestler of all time. You can't see me, but you know it's true.
The end of the era. By the end of the ruthless aggression era, Cena had become the face of WWE, carrying the company into the future with the strength of 100 Arnold movies. His legacy was felt everywhere, inspiring new generations of fans and wrestlers, and that, my friends, is why John Cena is the ultimate champion. So there you have it, folks. The ruthless aggression era, with a special highlight on John Cena, told in the style of Will Sasso doing his Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. It was a time of incredible power, unforgettable battles, and most importantly, the rise of a true legend. Now go pump some iron and remember, hustle, loyalty, respect. Yeah. All right, folks, let's dive into the Legends and Legacy era of wrestling, narrated by Will Sasso doing his best Chad Kultgen impression. Get ready for a deep dive into the time when WWE celebrated its storied past while forging its future with new superstars.
In the mid-2000s, the WWE entered what many refer to as the Legends and Legacy era. This period was characterized by a deep respect for the history of professional wrestling, combined with the emergence of new talents who would carry the torch forward. The WWE was balancing the act of honoring its past legends while building a legacy with fresh faces. The rise of new superstars. The Legends and Legacy era saw the rise of new superstars who would become household names. Randy Orton, already making waves during the Ruthless Aggression era, solidified his place as the Legend Killer. His feuds with legends like Mick Foley and Undertaker showcased his ruthless persona and incredible in-ring skills. Batista, another Evolution alum, continued his dominance, capturing multiple World Heavyweight Championships. His battles with Triple H, John Cena, and The Undertaker were main event spectacles that thrilled audiences worldwide. John Cena and the establishment of a legend. Speaking of John Cena, he became the face of WWE during this era. Cena's work ethic, charisma, and connection with the fans propelled him to the top of the industry. He held the WWE Championship numerous times and became synonymous with the company. His never-give-up mantra and crossover appeal made him a global superstar, transcending wrestling into mainstream media. The return of legends. This era was also marked by the return of several wrestling legends. Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock made sporadic appearances, reminding fans of the glory days while enhancing the credibility of the current roster. These appearances were not just nostalgia trips. They were strategic moves to boost ratings and create memorable moments that bridged generations of fans. The Undertaker's streak and legacy. The Undertaker continued to be a central figure, with his WrestleMania streak becoming a key storyline. Each year, a new challenger would attempt to end the streak, with matches against Shawn Michaels and Triple H standing out as instant classics. These matches weren't just wrestling contests. They were epic storytelling moments that captivated audiences and solidified The Undertaker's legendary status. The Women's Revolution begins. While the full-blown Women's Revolution would take center stage later, the seeds were planted during this era. Trish Stratus and Lita paved the way with their incredible matches and rivalries, proving that women's wrestling deserved the spotlight. Their contributions laid the groundwork for the future stars of the women's division. CM Punk and the voice of the voiceless. Enter CM Punk, a revolutionary figure who brought a new edge to WWE. His infamous pipe bomb promo in 2011 broke the fourth wall and addressed real issues within the company. Punk's authenticity and in-ring prowess earned him a massive following. His reign as WWE champion and subsequent battles with the likes of John Cena and The Rock were pivotal moments in this era. Legacy pay-per-views and Hall of Fame, WWE capitalized on its rich history with legacy-themed pay-per-views like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series. These events became annual celebrations of wrestling history, featuring dream matches and honoring past legends. WWE Hall of Fame inductions became a staple, celebrating the careers of iconic figures and preserving the legacy of the business. The emergence of new talent. Finally, this era saw the emergence of new talents who would become the future of WWE. Stars like Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, and The Miz began to make their mark, showing glimpses of the next generation of superstars. Their rise indicated a bright future, ensuring that the legacy of WWE would continue to evolve and thrive.
Imagine Tom Hanks, one of Hollywood's most versatile talents, channeling the larger-than-life persona of Macho Man Randy Savage. He clears his throat, adjusts his imaginary sunglasses, and with a playful twinkle in his eye, he dives into character.
Tom Hanks is Macho Man. Ooh, yeah, brother. Let's snap into the modern era of wrestling where the stakes are high and the action's hotter than a kettle in the desert sun. Yeah, the new era. 2016 present, the towering Titans Roman Reigns. Now here's a guy, he's the head of the table, the big dog, the tribal chief. Roman Reigns, he's ruling the WWE universe with an iron fist and a sharp tongue, thanks to his buddy Paul Heyman. When he steps into that ring, expect thunder and lightning. Yeah, the man. Becky Lynch, she's not just the man, she's the man. Climbing to the top of the mountain at WrestleMania 35, she rewrote the script. Yeah, facing off against the best and leaving no doubt why she's got the gold. Charlotte Flair, this lady, oh brother, she's royalty and more, strutting into the ring with all the flair of her legendary daddy, but making her own colossal impact. Those title belts might as well just engrave her name on them permanently. Seth Rollins. Here's a warrior. Seth Rollins, always ready to burn it down. Whether he's flying off the top rope or scheming his next big win, this guy lights up the ring like a 4th of July fireworks show. Yeah. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Talk about a spooky spectacle. The Fiend, he's not just here to fight, he's here to fright, turning dreams into nightmares and the ring into a scene right out of a horror flick. A revolution like no other. These women, oh yeah, they're not just participants, they're trailblazers, headlining, stealing the show, and doing it all with style and grit that says, we're here to stay and we're here to slay.
NXT, the launch pad of legends. NXT, it's where the future stars sharpen their teeth, grinding day and night to turn potential into reality. This is the forge where the next generation of WWE superstars are molded, and they're coming out swinging, yeah. AEW throws down the gauntlet, then there's AEW, the new kid on the block, throwing haymakers with the big leagues, bringing in big guns like Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. They're saying, look out world, we're here to shake things up. Adapting to a world changed. When the world paused, wrestling reinvented the game. WWE's Thunderdome, that's innovation, brother, bringing the crowd's energy into an arena with none but the fighters and the fight, yeah. Legends and their lasting echoes. And The Undertaker, oh man, the Phenom, after decades of chilling our spines, finally taking a bow. But legends, they don't fade away. They become myths, whispered about in awe and respect.
Future champions rising. Watch out for the new faces like Big E and Bianca Belair. They're not just playing the game, they're changing it, marking their territory, and setting the bar sky high for those who dare to follow. Tom Hanks dropping character, and there you have it, a wild ride through the wrestling world, viewed through the lens of a Macho Man impression. It's been a blast, a real knockout, don't you think? His voice smooths back into the warm, familiar cadence we all know, leaving behind a touch of Macho Man's intensity as if the spirit of the wrestling legend had, just for a moment, filled the room.
And thank you all for watching, brothers. It's time for this Hulk will Chad train to depart the station. Yee-haw! Farts upon exit.